Hi, I'm Tiffany Haynes, and I'm here to talk about how we can manage the holidays during COVID 19. Now, I love the holiday season. From about mid October to the new year, that is my jam. I love everything about it. I love the smells, the food, but I especially love the fellowship. So I've been looking forward to the holidays because this has been a crazy year. And it just feels like if we can do some things that give us a sense of normal, like getting back to what we used to do, it would just be helpful. But COVID 19 is still here. And I quickly realized that some of the things that I love to do, some of the family fellowship that we have, even the things like my dad passing around Christmas gifts and hoarding all his until the end, or my brother in law dressing up as low down, dirty Santa and giving us all gag gifts. Those weren't going to happen the way that they always happen. And I will admit, I got in my feelings. I was a little bit upset because I really, really wanted to have the holidays the way that we've always had it. And I had to take some time and really think about what's important. And I had to reframe my idea about the holidays. So you see, I was in this rut because I was thinking COVID had canceled our holidays. But really, what I had to come to remember is that the holidays are still in full effect. They will look different, but they can still be good. And so that's my new mantra. That's what I'm telling myself now is that the holidays will be different, but they can still be good. So, how do we get there? What's the first thing that we should be doing? And first, we have to look for the good. We have to be intentional about finding the good of these holiday season. So, for example, we know that taking time every day to find something that we can be grateful about or something that's positive that's going on in the midst of this chaos is helpful for our mental health. So people who are able to find that positive thing or that thing to be grateful for, they're doing a little bit better with their coping. And we have to do the same thing with our holiday season. We have to look for the good. So, when we get to Thanksgiving season, we start to see people who have these gratefulness challenges on social media, where every day you're saying something else that you're grateful for. And we may have to do that with our friends and family this year to make sure that we are being intentional and looking for the things that we're going to be grateful for or the things that are going well, even if everything is not quite the way that we want it to be. Now, after we find the good, we have to be intentional about connecting. So it's very easy to be like, well, if we're not going to do it the way we always do it, ain't no sense in doing it at all. I'm just going to stay at home. I'm going to do it by myself. I'm not going to worry about it because if it's not what I want it to be, I'm not going to even put any effort into it. And it's really easy to get like that and to isolate ourselves. But we have to remember that we have to be intentional about connecting and that we are not going to let anybody feel disconnected in this season because of COVID 19. So that may even mean that we have to go back old school. I remember my mom used to have stacks and stacks of Christmas greeting cards that she would send out. And it always seemed to me like it was such a chore because we had to go get stamps, we had to write in it, we had to address them, take them to the post office. It was just a lot. And I always said, I am not going to be sending out Christmas greeting cards when I get old enough to have my own house and all of that. And I have stuck to that. But this year, it may mean that I have to go back old school. Because do you know how amazing it is to get something in the mail, to connect with someone and to hear or to read that they are thinking about you, even though you're not physically in the same area? That does something to your mental health. It lifts you. It lets you know that you're still connected, even though you're not in person. So we may have to find ways to connect like that. We have to be intentional. We have to look for ways to connect, even in the midst of COVID 19. And while we're looking for ways to connect and we're being intentional about connecting, we have to be creative and safe. I know that everyone is kind of sick of Zoom, but one of the things that I'm grateful for in this season is that when this pandemic is going on, we have technology that helps us stay connected. So we're going to have to be creative. One of the things that my family loves to do is decorate. We may have to do decorating contests from afar this year. Instead of decorating with each other in the same house, we're going to have to do some decorating in our own house and kind of compete and compare. In fact, I know a family that has a big Christmas decorating contest between themselves, and they do it on social media. They have judges. They go the whole 9 yards, and it's fun, but it also keeps them connected. So we may have to do things like that this year. Another thing that my family loves is singing and music. So we may do some Christmas karaoke via Zoom this year. And you can do that too. Get your friends and family together on Zoom. You sing your favorite Christmas carols. You can use the karaoke tracks from YouTube, and you can just sing to your heart's desire. You can even kick it up a notch and dress up like Santa Claus or Mariah Carey when she sings All I Want for Christmas Is You. But whatever it is, you're going to have fun and engage each other even through that Zoom medium. Now, some of you are rolling your eyes. I can feel it through the screen. You're like, I am not spending my holiday via Zoom. And I hear you. So you might want to think about some other ways, like drive-throughs. We know families who say, no one cooks the macaroni like my auntie. No one cooks dressing like my grandma. And I can't have Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa without that. Well, this is a year that maybe you have to do drive-by. Maybe they can make to-go plates and to-go pans of dressing, and you can come pick it up, wave from a distance, throw hugs and kisses, and you won't have to increase your risk of exposure to COVID-19. This is also a good year for you to try your hand out at some of these recipes. Now, I know, and for some families, it's blasphemy for someone other than the old heads to cook for holiday dinners. But this is your time to try out your dressing, try out your macaroni and cheese. And you may want to ask for some recipes. I know that most people don't have a recipe, but a few years ago, my family had to change our holiday traditions because my mother passed away. And we realized we didn't really know how to cook dressing. So we had to call on some friends. And one of our friends, shout out to Sister Honey from Greater Mount Moriah Church, she actually went in her kitchen and kind of walked through how she makes her dressing and wrote it down for us. And we use that recipe even to today to try to, make our dressing. Not as good as hers, but it'll pass. And so you can ask your friends and family to do that too. Can I walk through how you cook your meal so that I can have these staple dishes on my holiday dinner, even if we're not going to spend it together? And I want to encourage you to remember to be safe because COVID-19 is still here. And what we know is that when we're around our friends and family, we tend to get a little bit lax, right? So we don't wear a mask as often. We're more likely to wear it improperly when we're around friends and family because we don't think that our friends and family, they don't have anything. They're not going to give us a disease that could harm us. So we're safe around them. And of course, nobody will intentionally come with COVID-19, but we're not living in a world where we have zero risk of exposure. So we have to make sure that we keep those CDC requirements and guidelines, even if we're going to be with our friends and family. And this year, CDC is recommending that we use virtual means as the safest way to get together through the holidays. If you're going to get together, they're encouraging you to get together in small numbers. This is not the year where we have all of our extended family come over and come in and come for dinner. We just can't do that this year and keep our risk low. So you're going to have smaller groups. And if you do have a smaller group, you still want to make sure that you're physically distancing 6 feet in between each person. That means that you may not be able to have dinner inside the house. You might have to move outside if the weather permits, or you might have to rent a larger space so that you have room for people to be 6 feet apart. You want people to wear masks. It has to be enforced. If we're not eating, we're masked up the entire time we're together. You want people to wash their hands frequently. So you need to have hand soap and hand sanitizer available so that people can keep their hands clean. And you need to make sure that you're disinfecting shared spaces. So right now, Clorox wipes and Lysol, they're like gold when you find them, but you want to start stocking up. So, but again, remember that risk is not zero. It is still a risk of infection. So we want you to be safe. We want you to do virtual or drive-by things when you can and limit your in-person dinners where you're going to be around each other for an extended period of time. Because we know that being around more people for longer periods of time increases our risk of infection. Now, I will say there are some families who are coming up with some creative ways of getting together. Some people are requesting that everybody take a COVID-19 test before the gathering, and you have to have your results in hand before you can come. Others are requesting that the family quarantines, that you limit your exposure to outside. We work from home if you can. You limit your shopping in stores when you can for the 2 weeks leading up to a gathering so that you can feel more comfortable being around each other. Those are great ways to mitigate or lower the risk. Doesn't take it to zero, but it does make it less likely. So again, we have to remember that we have to find the good in the holidays. There's going to be some differences. It's not going to look the same, but we have to be grateful and, really, we have to really be grateful that we still have our family here to connect with, and that we are intentional about connecting, that everyone that we love, that's in our circle, that's in our tribe, feels this connection during the holiday season. We don't want anyone isolated from us. So we're going to have to do things like reach out via card. Some of us may reach out via text or phone, but we want to reach out during this season and connect with people and let them know we're thinking about you, we love you, and we wish that we were together, but even if we can't be together, we can still love on each other from afar. And then we're going to have to be creative. Find those things to do that you maybe haven't done before, or maybe you used to do and you haven't done. Use Zoom, use FaceTime, use Facebook Live to connect via technology with your friends and family. Do drive-bys to connect when you can. Send cards and greeting cards to connect when you can. And then do other things like drive-through light shows where you can all be in separate cars, but go through the light display together. These are things that you can do that's going to keep you safe yet connected. And for those of you who are just adamant that we're going to have Thanksgiving at grandma's house the way we always have, please be safe. We don't want anybody to say that grandma wasn't here for Christmas 2021 because we weren't safe in Christmas 2020. So please be safe. Remember those CDC guidelines. Remember that is the riskiest thing that we can do when we're together, and we have to take steps to lower our risk. So I want to encourage you to get with your family and start planning. Usually we don't plan the holidays because it's tradition. We do it each time. We know what we're going to be doing. This year is going to require some planning. Get together with your family, check with them and see what it is that they want to do, what they're comfortable with doing. Remember that some of your family members are going to be comfortable being in person and some will not. And that's okay. We can do things where we have a Zoom virtual drop-in. So some people can be having dinner and others can drop in via Zoom. We can do things to make sure that we can all connect at the comfort level that everyone is at. So start talking to your family now. Start planning what it is that you're going to be doing. And then I want you to drop some ideas in the comments under this video. What are you doing to celebrate the holidays this year? How are you changing things up and doing things differently? That way we can all learn from each other to figure out ways that we can stay connected during this holiday season. And if you keep connected with the Arkansas Association for Black Psychology Professionals on Facebook or on YouTube, I may be dropping in and out to give you a glimpse into how my family is celebrating the holiday season. So I told you we have a lot of traditions, and we've been talking about how we can do these traditions safely. So we may be dropping a video here and there, having a pop-up live, so you can see how my friends and family are taking the challenge of staying connected while staying safe. So that's it. We're going to find the good. We're going to be intentional about connecting, and we're going to use our creativity. I can't wait to hear how you're celebrating this holiday season. Happy holidays, everyone.